"Your brother deserves it," my parents said. They left him everything: the house, the money, the future. A month later, Mom wrote, "The mortgage is due." I simply replied. I was standing in the living room of the house I had helped save 3 times. Once, when my father had back surgery and couldn't work for months. Another, during the pandemic when my parents lost half their retirement savings in the market. And again last spring when the boiler broke right before a cold snap, and I transferred the full amount to the contractor before they even called to request it. That day, I wasn't there to fix anything, just helping my father, Antonio, skin some documents for his medical insurance. It was something I did often. Antonio never quite understood how the printer/scanner worked, not even after 10 years. He always said I was good with technology, even though I've been working in project management for over a decade, not IT. He'd left a pile of documents on the dining room table. I glanced through them quickly. Medical records, some social security forms, a utility bill or two. Then I saw it. A thick, cream-colored folder labeled in my mother Isabel's clear, neat handwriting, succession plan, final copy. I shouldn't have opened it, I know. But I'd just paid their property tax the week before, 17,000 euros, and was planning to stop by the pharmacy afterward to pick up their prescriptions, as I always did. So, yes, I opened it. Inside was their will, notarized 2 months prior. The house, fully paid off, their remaining retirement accounts, a life insurance policy, all to my brother, Tomas Marquez, 30 years old, jobless, still living at home. He dropped out of university twice, spent a few years pursuing music, which really meant jamming in the garage and uploading videos that never got more than 200 views. My parents always said he just hadn't found his path yet. My name, Elena Marquez, appeared only once. One line, "We love both our children equally and trust they will take care of each other." That was it. No mention of the taxes I'd paid, no line about the savings I'd transferred without being asked, not even a thank you. Just a polite way of saying, "You don't need anything, and we don't owe you anything." I didn't say anything at first. I just stood there, staring at the paper while the scanner continued to hum in the background. My hands were steady, my breathing even. My father came back in with his coffee and said, "Are you finished with those papers, Elena?" I held up the folder. "Is this how it's going to be, Dad?" I asked quietly. "Everything to Tomas?" He froze, his coffee halfway to his lips. Then he let out one of those long, weary sighs that only meant one thing. He already knew what I'd found. "It's not what you think." I didn't answer him because it was exactly what I thought. I didn't push it. Not yet. Dad stood there, holding his mug like it could offer some explanation. Then he mumbled, "We thought you'd understand." "You're doing well, Elena. You've always done well." That's what they always said when they didn't want to give explanations. "You've always done well." Translation: You have no right to want more. I left the folder on the table and went outside for some air. The porch swing creaked a little as I sat down. I'd replaced it myself 2 summers ago, the same week the deck railing collapsed, and I paid a contractor to fix it because Tomas had said he was between paychecks again. I didn't mind then. I was raised to take care of things, to step in. I'd grown up in that house, shared a room with Tomas until I was 13, when Dad finally finished the basement. I still remember the day we painted the walls blue together, Dad, Tomas, and me. Mom brought us lemonade and said, "Look at our little team." Some team. I stayed in Valencia after university because Mom said she couldn't sleep if I was too far away. I turned down a job offer in Barcelona, even after they offered me more money and a faster track to a management position. I told myself family mattered more. They never asked me to sacrifice. They just never told me I didn't have to. There were the small things, paying their car insurance when they were short, buying them groceries when the assistance program was delayed, calling the credit card company when the late fees piled up. And then there were the big things, like transferring 9,500 euros of my savings to get them caught up on the mortgage 4 years ago. I did it without asking. I just wanted them to feel safe, secure, worry-free. And now, after all that, I was just a footnote. I sat on the porch swing, staring at the old oak tree across the yard. Tomas had carved his initials there once, TMS, for some girl in his sophomore year of high school. I wondered if he'd ever helped pay for that tree to be pruned. I wondered if he even knew it cost €700 last year after a storm nearly split it in half. Did they ever think about what I'd given up? Not just the money, but the comfort, the peace, the life I could have built somewhere else? Or did they just see me as the one who didn't need to be asked because I always showed up first? I didn't go back inside. The swing creaked once beneath me, then was still. I could still hear the hum of the scanner through the screen door. A few minutes later, Mom came out. She was wearing the same light blue cardigan she always wore when she had to say something important. The one from that Christmas when I'd given her a gift card and Tomas gave her a burned CD. She'd said she loved them both. She didn't sit at first, just stood there twisting the edge of her sleeve. "Elena," she said, "not too soft, not too sharp." I didn't look up. She sat down beside me anyway. I wasn't going to fill the silence for her. She let out her breath. Not a sigh, just a release. "It's not that we don't love you, Hija." I didn't say anything, because what do you call love that forgets your name when it's inconvenient? She reached out, resting her hand on mine. Her skin was warm, slightly trembling. "Tomas has had it harder. You're stable, Elena. You've always been stable, strong, reliable." Words that sound kind until you realize they are cages. Labels that allow them to take without remorse. I pulled my hand away. "You could have told me," I said quietly. "You could have asked." She looked away, toward the yard. And then she said it softly, as if saying it softer made it weigh less. "We had to co-sign for Tomas. He needed help." The word landed like a tap, not a blow, but I heard everything in the way she said it. They hadn't just left me out of the will. They tied themselves to him with real numbers, real debt, real risk. "How much?" I asked. "Nothing, Mom." "How much?" She stayed silent, then, barely a whisper, 30,000. I stood up. The wind had picked up. The old porch chime tinkled once, then was still. I looked at her. Not with anger, just with weariness. "You didn't choose him because he needed it. You chose him because you already owed him something." Her eyes widened, but not in question. Just in. I don't know. Maybe in realizing the price of including me had been too high. I didn't send messages. I didn't call. I just stopped. That same week, I canceled the automatic transfer I'd set up for their utility bills. I deleted the calendar reminder to reorder their medications. I paused the grocery account that delivered to them every Thursday at 4. Nothing dramatic, no grand pronouncements. Just a quiet shifting. A gap where I used to be. I thought they'd notice immediately. But a week passed. Nothing. The second week, the first messages started coming. The first was from Dad. "The water bill came higher this month. Can you check the account?" I didn't reply. Then Mom, "Out of the salt-free crackers you always bring." Tomas forgot. I left it unread. They weren't worried yet. Just assuming I was busy, or grumpy, or tired from work. Maybe they thought I needed space. Maybe they thought I'd come back around, like always. The third week, the tone shifted. "Elena," Mom wrote. "Mortgage is due. Can you send it, like usual? No hello, no how are you. Just one line. One number. One need." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed, "Ask Tomas." "It's his house now." I pressed send. Didn't wait. 5 minutes later, she called. I let it ring. Another message, "Please don't be like this. We need to talk." But there was nothing left to talk about. They'd made their choice. I was simply starting to live like it mattered. That same afternoon, Tomas texted, "Elena, don't be dramatic. Help them like you always do. Like always. Like a routine. Like a reflex. Like I had never been more than reliable background noise." I replied, "You're the one they chose, Tomas. So be that choice." He didn't answer. The next morning, I woke to a transfer request from Mom. 2,800 euros. The exact amount of the overdue mortgage and the late fees. No message, no note. Just the number. I declined it. A minute later, the phone rang. Again. And again. Then a text, "We could lose the house if you don't help us." And finally from Dad, "You'd let your parents become homeless?" I almost laughed. They weren't homeless. They were just uncomfortable. For the first time, they were learning what I'd carried, silently, without asking. I turned off my phone. They didn't lose me when they left me out of the will. They lost me when they assumed I would keep giving after that. A week of silence passed. No calls, no messages. It was the quietest I'd ever known them to be. And somehow, that was louder than their pleading. I started sleeping better, waking up without checking my phone, cooking for one and no one else. But silence never lasts in my family. Not when there's blame to be placed. The first sign was a voicemail from Aunt Carmen. She almost never called. Always said she didn't want to get involved in family matters. But that morning, her message said, "I'm not taking sides, Carino, but your mother is very worried. Maybe you should talk to them." That's when I knew they'd started talking to others. I opened social media. Didn't take long to find it. A picture of the front porch. A caption that read, "We gave everything to our children, but sometimes giving isn't enough." Dozens of likes, a few concerned comments. One from Tomas. "Some people think family is about money. They forget it's about showing up." I closed the app. Not angry, just empty. They weren't just disappointed. They were rewriting the story, making me the villain for stepping back from the care they'd only ever wanted to use. The next afternoon, an envelope arrived at my apartment. Plain white, no return address. Inside, a foreclosure notice. Just a copy. It wasn't addressed to me, but I recognized the house number. I sat with the paper for a moment, looked at it. Then I flipped it over and wrote on the back, "Maybe you should have left it to someone who knew how to manage it." I didn't send it. Instead, I checked the property register site. Their house was officially listed as at risk. Payments overdue, no equity. They'd burned through all their savings, probably trying to keep up appearances. Maybe hoping it would go away before it became real. Tomas had spent it all. All the money they'd left him, for his security, his stability, his future. Gone. There was a time when I would have stepped in. Called the bank, negotiated a grace period, moved funds. But now, I poured myself a glass of water, sat at my kitchen table and let their house fall apart without me. Sometimes, putting out fires you didn't start is enough. You just have to stop carrying the bucket of water. It started subtle. A vague post from Mom with a sunflower emoji. A picture of her and Dad smiling on the porch. We raised them with love. We did the best we could. But sometimes love isn't enough. No names, no direct accusations. But I knew what it was. And anyone who knew us did too. Aunt Dolores commented, "You're wonderful parents. You deserve better." Dad posted the next day. A longer text, less subtle. "We gave our children everything. Time, money, love. We thought we raised them right. But in the end, you can't control who turns their back on you." He tagged me. No call, no message. Just a post for everyone to see. I didn't reply. Just watched it grow. Dozens of likes, family friends commenting, some I hadn't seen since high school. One wrote, "This generation doesn't understand sacrifice." And then there was Tomas, of course there was Tomas. He shared Dad's post with his own caption, "Some people only care when they're getting something." I'd give anything to protect Mom and Dad. I guess not everyone understands what family is like that. I read it twice. Then once more. The same man who hadn't paid rent in years, who had drained every last euro they had, who'd watched the house deteriorate, was now painting himself as the hero. The comments were worse. "You're an exemplary son. Your sister should be ashamed." They gave her everything and she still wanted more. They didn't know the truth, but they didn't want to either. They wanted a narrative, and my family gave it to them. Maybe I would have still stayed quiet, let the storm pass. But then I saw her name. Lucia. My cousin. The one who'd once told me, "You're the glue of this family." She'd liked the post. Left a heart. Nothing else. Just that. And it hurt more than I expected. Maybe because I thought she did know the truth. Maybe because I thought she saw me. I closed the laptop. Sat in the dark. And, for the first time in weeks, I felt something break. Not loud, not messy. Just a final, quiet click. They weren't just rewriting the story. They were writing me out of it. They came on a Thursday. I should have expected it. The messages hadn't worked. The money requests were ignored. The guilt wasn't landing. So they showed up. The receptionist called at 10:42 a.m. "Miss Marquez, your parents are here, and a man who says he's your brother." I was in the hallway outside my office, staring at the floor tiles while she kept talking. "They want to come up. They say it's urgent." I took a deep breath. "Please tell them I'm unavailable and not expecting them." Pause. "They say they'll wait." I nodded, even though no one could see. So I let them wait. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "We're downstairs." Open the door. Another. "We're not leaving until we talk to you." I didn't rush. I finished the meeting I was in, answered 2 emails, then went down. They were huddled by the building entrance, too close together, like they'd rehearsed it. Dad, standing stiffly, with that rigid posture like he was holding back a sermon. Mom, clutching her purse with both hands, eyes scanning the lobby. Tomas looking like he wanted to be anywhere else. They all turned when I crossed the doorway. No one spoke at first. I stayed where I was, arms crossed. "Elena," Mom said, her voice already tight. "We need to talk." I looked at her, then past her. The street was quiet. A delivery van rumbled in the distance. "No," I said. Dad scoffed. "You'd really let us lose the house over this?" I let the words settle. "Did you really think I wouldn't?" He opened his mouth, but I cut him off. "You left me out. You gave everything to Tomas. And now you come to me for the same support I gave, for years, without asking." No one answered. Mom stepped forward, her voice softer now. "We thought you'd understand. You've always been so strong." I nodded. "You used that as an excuse to forget me." Tomas muttered something. I didn't quite catch it. Something about him not asking for any of this. "But you took it," I said to him. He looked away. Dad put his hands on his hips, impatient. "We fed you, raised you. You owe us something." I almost laughed. "That debt," I said, "I paid it. Every month, every year. And you still erased me." Mom's lip trembled. "We didn't mean to hurt you." I took a step toward them. "Then why did you wait for me to disappear to notice I was the one holding everything up?" They said nothing. Tomas reached for the door. I held up my hand. "No. You're not coming up. You're not coming in. Not this time. I won't be your solution." No shouting, no scene. Just stillness. There they were. 3 people who once called themselves my family. And me. I was done trying to be seen by those who only looked when they needed something. They didn't lose me when they changed the will. They lost me when they believed I would never leave. I didn't block their numbers. I didn't need to. The silence I gave them was louder than anything they could shout at me. They kept posting for a while. Mom tried with soft words. Dad turned colder, accusing, demanding. Tomas, mostly silent. "Just one final message. Do you think this makes you better? Walking away?" I didn't reply. A few days later, I went for a walk. No destination, just movement. My path, unintentionally, took me through the neighborhood where I grew up. The old street looked the same. Cracked sidewalks, a half-painted fence. But the house, a for sale sign on the lawn, the shutters faded, the grass brown. I stopped on the sidewalk and looked at it. The porch light was off. The swing I'd fixed was gone, too. So was the wind chime that used to hang there. I didn't go closer. Didn't need to look inside to know what had fallen apart. That house never held me. I held it. And now it was someone else's problem. As I turned to go, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Once, then again. I didn't look at it. I already knew whose name would be on the screen. I let it vibrate. Then it stopped. Then it buzzed again. I pulled my phone out and looked. Missed call, Mom. Missed call, Dad. And then, new voicemail. I silenced it. Put the phone back in my coat pocket. Didn't need to listen. I already knew what it would say. I walked home in the cool, slow air of a late autumn afternoon. Not with anger. Not with vindication. Just free. I was never their backup plan. They just liked to pretend I would never leave. If they ever counted on your silence, but forgot your name, just leave. Some of us never raised our voices, but we never disappeared.